If I look at this guy, it says to measure the angle and find its complement. So I'm going to come up with the measurement of this thing, and then after I've measured it, I'm going to figure out the angle that would get me to 90 degrees, okay? And so when I take a look at this thing, let me grab this guy and kind of scoot it over here. So remember, I just line this up on this little edge, and I can expand this guy a little bit to get it to line up. And so when I look at this thing, I measure the angle. It looks like this is, I got to use the inside track this time. And so it looks like a 44-degree angle somewhere around there. So I'm going to call it a 44-degree angle using the outside edge. So if this thing is a 44-degree angle, I just have to ask myself, what do I have to add to this thing to get to 90? And an easy way to do that is just subtract. You know, if I think about the complementary angles from the previous example, it was a 43 and a 47 to get me to the 90 degrees, okay? But if I had either one of those angles, all right, if I take this and do 90 minus 43, it'll give me the 47, okay? If I do 90 minus the 47, it'll give me the 43. All right, and so if I don't have one of the angles, I can always just take that and subtract it from 90. Say, hey, 90 minus the 44, well, that's going to give me a 46. So the complement is a 46-degree angle, okay? And I can always check it. I can come back up here and say, hey, 46 plus the 44, that does equal 90 degrees, okay? I'm looking for the angle that I can add to that thing to get 90 degrees, and it's a matter of working backwards and subtracting it from 90 to find that value. Okay. Same thing with this next one. What is the complement of a 54-degree angle? Once again, I'm seeking the angle that I can add to 54 to get me to the 90. Well, the easy way to work backwards is to say, hey, let's do 90 minus the 54. And when you do 90 minus the 54, you get a 36. So it's a 36-degree angle. Once again, easy to check. 54 degrees plus the 36 degrees. Well, that does equal 90 degrees. I can see for sure that those are complementary angles, okay? So the complement is the 36-degree angle. That's what's needed to get me to the 90 degrees. If I look at the next one, the complement of a 22-degree angle, once again, I'm going to do 90 minus the 22. And that gives me a 68, so 68 degrees. Sorry, that's a terrible-looking 8. I think I can do better than that. Oh, I'm having a little trouble selecting my eraser. There we go. So 68 degrees. And once again, I could easily check it and say, hey, 22 degrees plus the 68 degrees. Oh, yeah, that adds up to 90 degrees. So those are complementary. So the complement of the 22-degree angle would be a 68-degree angle. I'm finding that angle that gets me to the 90 degrees. If I look at these guys, when I'm looking at something like this, these are complementary angles simply because they form a 90-degree angle. They create a 90-degree angle together. And so when I look at these two angles, when I look at angle 1 right here, which is the span right here, and I look at this 20-degree angle, they make up a 90-degree angle, which is indicated by that little box, okay? And so once again, this is like asking, hey, what's the complement of 20 degrees? Well, I simply have to do the same thing that I've done previously. I just have to subtract. I say 90 minus the 20, that gives me a 70-degree angle. And so if I kind of just take this back into context up here, we'll check it. Add those together, they add up to 90 degrees, which means they're complementary angles. So in other words, in this one, the measure of angle 1 has to be 70 degrees. If these are complementary angles, they have to add up to 90 degrees, so the measure of angle 1 has to be a 70 degrees. Okay? Same thing with the next one. These are complementary angles. I can see that because they create a 90-degree angle. If they create a 90-degree angle, then they are complements. And so for this one, I want to find that measurement. It's the same thing. The 61 degrees, if 1 is the complement, to find the complement, I just say, hey, 90 minus the 61. And when I do 90 minus the 61, it gives me a 29 degrees. And again, when I come back up here, think about it in context, I would say, hey, if this is 29 degrees, let's check it. Add them up, they add up to 90 degrees, which is what we were looking for. Those should add up to 90 degrees, so the measurement of angle 1, the measure of angle 1 is 29 degrees. Okay?